We are back. Last time you saw the build, we finished up by letting the concrete set. It's a long weekend here in Canberra, so we are hoping to make the best of the extra days we have and to get as much done as possible. Our goal this weekend is to get most of the fence done. Before we start, we have one very important job to do. We have been delaying it long enough. To grade the ground. This section of the ridge had a few high spots and a few low spots, and if we had left it like that, it would have caused us real trouble when it came to lay the fence. So before anything else, we had to get this as level as possible. So we used our box blade to get this done. If you don't know what it is, it's basically a three-sided steel box that drags behind the tractor. The back edge acts as a scraper, cutting through the high points and pulling the material with it. I have set my blade on an angle, and what I'm doing here is I'm making multiple passes back and forth. It's not possible to get the surface level in one go, so you have to go back and forth until you're satisfied with it. Sometimes it feels slow. It's like they say, slow and steady wins the race. Once the grading is done, the surface needs to be compacted. So what I'm doing here is I'm using the bucket of the tractor to level the surface into a smooth finish. The weight of the tractor just helps smooth out all the surface into a very nice finish. Now that the grading is done, we are back to it. Before going any further, we need a reference line. So we are running a string line from where the gate is going to be to all the way across where we left off last time. With string line in place, it's pretty much the same process as last time. Setting up the post, setting up the panel against the post, screw in the brackets to the post, pour in some rapid set, and on to the next panel. Back to drilling and continue the same process. Rest of the holes actually were not as bad as the initial job that we did last time. With this panel in, we are almost done for the day. We have managed to finish the fence to a point where now we need to add the gates where the steps are. So we will tackle this job in the morning. Midway along the fence line, there's a set of steps. This is going to be our entry, so we want to put a set of gates here. So today's job is to get the gates assembled. So what we've done here is we've set up two saw horses and laid a fence panel across the top. This gives us a straight reference line to work off while we assemble the gate. It's a simple trick, but it keeps everything lined up from start rather than trying to fix it later. Dad's been doing this kind of work the whole life. Not fences exactly, but problem solving and coming up with jigs and ideas to make things work easier. In Punjabi, we call it jugaad. Here I am trying to make sense of the instructions manual. Let me tell you, it didn't have many instructions in it. Just trying to figure out which way the hinges go. Time to hurry up. Here's the gates. So we've laid the post across the reference panel, and now it's time to get the gates on. This is where the reference panel helps a lot to make sure everything is aligned perfectly. Now laying down the second gate to make sure the distance between the two posts is right. And this is where Dad's experience comes in handy. This white piece of wood will make sure that the gap between the two gates remains equal and constant. I'm using a square to make sure that the distance from the top edge of the gate to the hinge is equal on both sides of the gates. This is purely for cosmetic purposes. If it's off, we'll notice it every day we walk past it. Even though we are using self-drilling screws, I'm still using a punch to mark the spot first, just to make sure the screw goes exactly where I want it and everything stays aligned. Now marking the second hole. And dropping everything. Now that it's all aligned, let's screw it in. I'm not locking this in fully just yet. I want to get the second screw started before I commit. That way, if anything needs adjusting, I still can. Now I can fully screw it all in. Now on the other side, just making sure post and the gate are in level and aligned. And now the gate and the post are connected together by the hinge. Moving on to the bottom part of the gate, same process, connecting the top screw, bottom screw, and connecting it all up. Now we are clamping everything together. The two gates and the piece of wood in the middle that we talked about earlier, the one that keeps the gap consistent. We are locking it all in place now, temporarily using the clamps, so that when we lift this off the sawhorses and move it to where it needs to go, it all stays exactly as we set it up. We have moved the gates into position. What we are about to do now is measure a fence panel to fill a gap that exists between the gate and the last fence panel that went in. It's about half a panel, so we will cut it to fill that gap. And the gate itself isn't fully fixed yet. We are getting all the pieces sorted first, and once everything is ready and where it needs to be, we'll pour the concrete and set it all in one go. Dad's using an angle grinder here. As we cut some of these panels, it actually bent our blade. Either we used the wrong blade or the aluminium is harder than steel. Who knows? This is the gap that we needed filling with this piece, and here it is connected to the gate. Looking good so far. By the end of day 2, we almost got all the panels done. As you can see, it's looking pretty complete now. It's time to rest now, because tomorrow we tackle the most complicated part of the fence. We tackle the gradient of this ridge. It's the next morning, and it's time to tackle this steep gradient that has been waiting for us. The camera may not do it justice, but it is pretty steep gradient. You can't run the standard panel down the slope like this. The cap at the bottom grows quite a lot. The fence looks wrong, and eventually it won't hold and the dogs will just escape. So we need a solution. After a lot of brainstorming, we came up with a solution, and that is to cut the panels down into small pieces and do a step fence. We're temporarily supporting the post with these bricks just to line everything up before we lock it in with concrete. Now this is where it gets interesting. This pillar already has a concrete footing at the base, so digging a hole here wasn't an option. We had to think differently. And our solution was to cut the post down to the required height, form a box around it, and pour rapid set in it to secure it. Simple idea, but it works. This kind of problem solving only comes with experience. Thanks, Dad. The step fence is starting to take shape. As this was pretty steep gradient, we couldn't bring our tractor in, so all the holes were dug manually. Dad's out there problem solving. I am out here doing my own kind of thinking, horizontal thinking. And the step fence is done.
This is the last bit left, so we're just trying to figure out how to connect to the tank and the pillar. And on this side, from this pillar to the wall. And with that, the fence project is near completion. The only thing left will be the gates.
So we ended up cutting a couple of panels and connecting them to the pillar and the wall by using angle brackets. We did the same thing on the other side near the tank. 3 days, a tractor, a lot of steel, and my dad. And now there's a fence where there wasn't one before. Now all that's remaining is to get the entry gates in and call it done. Subscribe and join us for part 3, where we put the last pieces of puzzle together and finish this build. Thank you for following along so far.